The night is dark and tension hangs over the city like a storm ready to break in the streets. Whispers of betrayal float through alleyways and every glance carries the weight of suspicion. In this episode, the stakes have never been higher. Characters we thought were untouchable are suddenly vulnerable, and the balance of power is tipping toward chaos. Rivalries that simmered under the surface for weeks are now ready to explode. Every decision is a gamble, and with each move, the risk of death grows. The episode begins by highlighting how fragile alliances have become. Friends are watching each other closely, their trust worn thin by the endless cycle of revenge and ambition. Even minor mistakes could turn deadly as enemies lie in wait, ready to strike at the first sign of weakness. The narrative carefully sets the scene: dimly lit rooms, the low murmur of plotting, shadowy figures moving quietly, unseen yet felt. The visuals of faceless silhouettes represent the characters' looming threats without revealing identities, keeping the suspense alive. As the story unfolds, viewers can feel the weight of anticipation. One character, who once seemed untouchable, is shown hesitating before making a critical decision. The audience knows this hesitation could be fatal. Another is seen planning a secret move that could either secure dominance or lead straight to a violent end. Every scene carries the energy of unpredictability. The tension is heightened by the soundscape, the faint click of a gun, footsteps echoing in empty corridors, and the sudden silence before a confrontation, even without showing faces. Emotions are clear: fear, anger, betrayal, and determination fill every moment. These elements combine to create an atmosphere where danger feels omnipresent. Meanwhile, the city outside mirrors the chaos inside. Streets that were once familiar now feel threatening, filled with hidden enemies and potential traps. Cars pass by in the night, their headlights briefly illuminating figures lurking in the shadows, hinting at encounters that could change everything. Each alleyway becomes a stage for power struggles, and every corner hides a possible death. Viewers are drawn into a world where survival depends not just on strength, but on cunning and timing. Trust has become a luxury, and every character must calculate their next move with extreme caution. The unpredictability keeps the audience on edge, knowing that at any moment, a single misstep could trigger a chain of deadly events. As the tension builds, the episode begins to hint at the first possible casualties. Subtle foreshadowing shows which characters might be in danger. Moments of isolation, arguments escalating into violence, and the slow unraveling of alliances. The script focuses on psychological tension as much as physical danger, highlighting that some deaths may come not from bullets but from betrayal and mistakes. Viewers are made to feel the pressure. The calm before the storm is thick with dread, making them question who will survive the night. In this first section, the stage is set perfectly for the bloodbath that is about to unfold, creating anticipation and fear in equal measure. The audience is left with a single thought: in the world of Power Book for Force, no one is untouchable, and death may be closer than anyone realizes. The night thickens, and the city becomes a silent predator, swallowing every step, every whisper, and every heartbeat. Inside dimly lit rooms, alliances that once seemed unbreakable are now stretched to their limits, cracking under the weight of suspicion and past betrayals. One by one, characters move like chess pieces, calculating, observing, waiting for the slightest advantage, unaware that each move may hasten their downfall. Shadows cling to the walls, and in the flicker of a single street lamp, the audience glimpses a figure standing alone, tense, almost frozen, the weight of unspoken danger pressing down. Every glance exchanged carries hidden meanings. Who is watching whom? Who is lying? Who is planning the ultimate betrayal? In these moments, it becomes clear that survival will not be earned by strength alone. Cunning, timing, and ruthlessness are the currencies that matter most. A character once seen as a silent force now stalks the corridors with deliberate precision, their eyes scanning for weakness, while another lingers on the outskirts, their heart racing with the realization that someone very close might already be plotting their death. Faceless silhouettes and subtle visual cues, like a hand tightening around a weapon, a shadow passing too quickly across a doorway, or the sound of a door clicking shut, allow viewers to feel the tension without ever needing to see faces, keeping the suspense tightly wound. Meanwhile, in the underbelly of the city, rival factions shift like predators circling prey, their plans intersecting in dangerous and unexpected ways. Every secret meeting, every whispered deal, carries the possibility of a fatal misstep. Characters that seemed untouchable are suddenly vulnerable, exposed by their own arrogance or by alliances that no longer protect them. The script emphasizes the fragility of loyalty, how a single word, a single glance, or a single act of betrayal can trigger a chain reaction of violence. There is a chilling sense that the rules of survival are being rewritten in real time. No one can predict who will fall first, who will be forced to make impossible choices, And who will ultimately pay the highest price? Sound design becomes a character of its own. Hear the distant hum of a siren, the sudden shattering of glass. The faint echo of footsteps in an empty hallway reminds the audience that danger is everywhere, waiting to strike when least expected. Each moment is carefully constructed to build tension, to tease the inevitability of death while keeping viewers guessing within this tension. Subtle foreshadowing highlights the most likely victims without ever explicitly stating their fate. A character pauses in the middle of a room, feeling watched. A bead of sweat tracing down their temple, their instincts screaming that someone is closing in. Another character discovers a clue that could shift the balance of power, yet every revelation brings them closer to their own potential end. The narrative plays with contrasts, moments of calm punctuated by sudden, shocking bursts of action, creating a rhythm that mirrors the uncertainty of who will survive the night. Trust, once considered a strength, has become a liability. Alliances are fragile and the wrong move can be fatal. The city itself becomes a silent accomplice to the impending bloodshed, its alleys, rooftops, and abandoned warehouses acting as unseen stages for the deadly drama about to unfold. As the night progresses, viewers sense that the bloodbath is not just physical but psychological. Characters are tormented by past choices, haunted by memories, and pressured by enemies who seem to anticipate every move. The narrative makes it clear that deaths will not always be straightforward. Some may come from revenge, some from miscalculations, and some from betrayal by those they trusted most. The tension escalates with each passing moment, the audience acutely aware that time is running out for these characters, and that even the slightest lapse in judgment could cost them everything. By the end of this section, the foundation for the episode's most shocking moment is firmly laid. Viewers are on edge, hearts pounding, anticipating the chaos that is about to erupt, fully aware that in the world of Power Book for Force, the night has only just begun and survival is far from guaranteed. The air grows heavier, almost suffocating, as the city seems to hold its breath, waiting for the inevitable. In this darkness, the first real signs of who might not make it through the night begin to emerge. Every character moves with an awareness that danger could strike at any moment. Their instincts sharper, their nerves taut. Some linger too long in the wrong room. Others make choices that appear minor but carry deadly consequences. The predictions start to take shape not through certainty, but through patterns of behavior, past grudges, and alliances that have begun to fray. One character, usually a silent observer, now exhibits subtle signs of paranoia, checking corners repeatedly, pausing mid-step, glancing over their shoulder at shadows that may or may not be real. These small, almost imperceptible cues hint to the audience that their time might be running out. Meanwhile, another character who has built a reputation on power and intimidation begins to overextend, their hunger for control blinding them to the threats surrounding them. Each movement, each decision is a thread in the web that could either protect them or pull them straight toward death. The tension escalates as the story shifts to unseen confrontations and lurking threats. One scene shows a faceless figure approaching a meeting place with deliberate caution. Knowing that an ambush could be waiting, the audience can sense the stakes. Betrayal could come from the most trusted ally, a hidden adversary, or even from a character's own impulsive choices. Foreshadowing is woven into the script through visual cues like shadows stretching across walls, doors opening with ominous creaks, and the flickering of distant lights that mimic the heartbeat of the city itself. The narrative teases deaths not with gore, but with anticipation, the sound of a gun cocking, a whispered argument that ends abruptly, a sudden silence that feels louder than any explosion. Characters who once seemed untouchable are now vulnerable, because they are exposed emotionally and strategically, and the audience is left to weigh who has the highest risk of falling. Predictions are sharpened by past events and the logic of survival in this world. Some characters are marked by revenge plots. Every slight they've committed, every betrayal they've made, comes back to them like a shadow that refuses to disappear. Others are in precarious positions simply because they are in the wrong place at the wrong time, caught between feuding factions, or forced to choose sides in conflicts that are far bigger than themselves. Even the smallest miscalculation, a glance at the wrong person, trusting the wrong ally, hesitating when speed is essential, could determine life or death. The narrative emphasizes that in this episode, deaths are not random, they are consequences, almost inevitable outcomes of the characters' actions and the environment they navigate. The audience begins to feel the tension with a physical weight, as though they are stepping cautiously through the same shadows, knowing that one wrong step could trigger catastrophe. The predictions also highlight the psychological torment that precedes physical danger. Characters are haunted by their past, aware of debts unpaid, secrets exposed, and alliances betrayed. A faceless figure pauses before making a critical choice, The camera lingering on their trembling hands, the tight grip on a weapon, or the quick glance toward an unseen threat. Another character walks through the city streets, alone, with every passing shadow seeming to follow them, heightening the sense that death could strike without warning. The narrative plays with pacing here, moments of quiet suspense broken by sudden, jarring sounds or movements, keeping the audience on edge. By layering these predictions with uncertainty and fear, the script turns every ordinary action into a potential prelude to disaster. Even viewers who think they know which character will survive are kept guessing. Because the world of Power Book for Force operates on unpredictability. As the section closes, the predictions coalesce into a tangible sense of impending doom. Each character's fate feels delicately balanced, yet the audience senses that the tipping point is near. Betrayals, rivalries, and past mistakes all converge in the shadows, pointing toward a night that promises chaos, blood, and shocking losses. The episode structure ensures that suspense is not just maintained, but amplified. The viewer's hearts race as they anticipate which character will falter first, who will be the next to fall, and how the web of danger will expand as the bloodbath begins. By the end of this section, the audience is fully immersed in a world where survival is uncertain, loyalty is fleeting, and death lurks in every corner, ready to claim its next victim. The city seems to hold its breath, the darkness stretching longer and thicker as though it itself is aware that the night will be soaked in blood. Every shadow becomes a threat, every alleyway a potential trap, and every flicker of movement a signal that the end could be closer than anyone realizes. In this final build-up, the tension is nearly unbearable. Characters move with the knowledge that nothing will be the same by dawn. Yet each step is measured, cautious, and heavy with the possibility of death. Faceless figures slip through streets, weaving in and out of pools of dim light, their motives unclear even as danger closes in from all sides. The episode sets the stage for chaos, where timing is critical and a single misstep can trigger a cascade of destruction. Some characters who have survived countless threats before now find that their instincts are not enough, their allies are no longer reliable, their enemies unpredictable, and the city itself feels like a predator circling silently, waiting for the moment to strike. The tension is amplified by the converging paths of characters who are unaware of how close their fates are intertwined. One character, for example, is shown preparing for what seems like a routine confrontation, only for the camera, or rather, the faceless perspective, to hint at an unseen threat lurking just steps away. Another walks through a desolate street, the echoes of distant voices carrying warnings, and yet their arrogance blinds them to the danger approaching from behind. Each scene emphasizes the fragility of control, showing how even the most calculated plans can unravel in an instant. Suspense builds through the careful use of sound, the sudden slam of a door, the distant roar of an engine, the faint crack of glass, and the unpredictable rhythm of footsteps. Every noise feels amplified, signaling that disaster is imminent, that a single wrong decision could ignite the bloodbath that the episode promises. As the chaos escalates, the narrative highlights the inevitable clashes that will define this episode. Rival factions, previously separated by tension and distance, now converge in a single deadly arena. The script paints this collision in stark, cinematic strokes, faceless figures charging, shadows colliding, and the air thick with the sense of confrontation. There is no need to show faces, the weight of action, sound, and implication is enough to communicate terror and urgency. Each character's vulnerabilities are laid bare. Past grudges, momentary lapses of judgment, or a misplaced trust now carry the potential for fatal consequences. Foreshadowing is pushed to its peak, sudden stops, quick glances over shoulders, hesitant movements, and the unsteady breathing of those who know that the night will demand blood before it ends. In this section, the audience feels the inevitability of violence, the sense that the coming moments are unavoidable and irreversible. Psychological tension remains as powerful as physical threat. Characters are trapped not only by enemies but by the weight of their own decisions. One pauses over a choice that could save their life or doom another, while another is forced into confrontation despite knowing the odds are stacked against them. The script emphasizes that in the world of Power Book for Force, death is rarely random. It is earned through recklessness, betrayal, or being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Every heartbeat, every shadow, and every subtle gesture carries weight, pushing viewers closer to the edge of anticipation. The night is now a living entity, unpredictable, vengeful, and patient, letting fear grow until it consumes every character in its path. The audience is left breathless, knowing that the bloodbath is not only coming, it is inevitable, imminent, and nothing will remain the same by the final frame of Episode 8. As the section closes, the anticipation peaks, the city, the characters, and the viewers are all suspended in the same moment of impending doom. Alliances are tested, Betrayals revealed and choices that once seemed insignificant now decide life or death. Every visual, every sound, every heartbeat hints that the storm of violence will erupt at any second. The finale looms not as a single event but as a series of collisions, emotional, physical, and strategic, where survival is uncertain and death is only a step away. By the end of this section, the narrative ensures that the audience is fully primed for the shocking, unforgettable bloodbath that will define this episode, leaving them tense, breathless, and desperate to witness who will fall and who will rise from the chaos of Power Book for Force Season 3 Episode 8.